So far in our second request, what we have done is we have in our whole registration APIs, what we have is firstly we have sent the user an OTP there on the phone number. So that is in our validate phone, we have sent the OTP to the user. Now that OTP is in the mobile of the user, let's say 4257. Now what we will do is in our second request, that is validate OTP. In validate OTP, we will take this phone number and OTP from the user. Okay, so user will send this OTP in the request and his phone number. Okay, so by these two things, because in our first request we have a model, that is phone OTP model, and in the phone OTP model we have phone number and OTP recorded. Let's say phone number is 123, this one, and OTP is this 4257. Okay, so the user will give 12456 whatever his number is and the OTP that he have received. Let's say he have given this, so we will match these two things, the post data and with this phone OTP, and on the basis of matched we will say OTP matched or OTP not matched. Okay, if the OTP got matched, there we will have a logged field also in our model and we will make it true if they matched. Otherwise by default it is already false. We will make this field right now. Okay, so true, if it becomes true, then in our third last API, that will be register. Okay, we will take phone number and a password. Okay, by using this phone number and password, let's say phone number is 12456, and then we will check and the password, whatever the user want to set the password, let's say ABCD 1234, and for this phone number we will check whether the logged field is true or not. If it is true, then we will say yeah, successful, create the account. Otherwise if the logged is false, we will say first go to the validate OTP, validate your OTP, and then only you can create the account. Okay, and if in the validate OTP process this phone number, let's say he entered phone number 521 whatever, and if this phone number is not existing in the table, then we will say first go to validate phone and receive the OTP, then only we will create this phone OTP model. So this is the whole three API set that works to make the user register. Okay, in register we will not take the like confirm password. This is the front end part. Like a front end guy can say just take the password and phone number, and he will have phone number by default, so he can say password and confirm password, two fields here, and he will send us a phone and password. Okay, so because he have already their phone number from the first screen and the second screen of the setting password, so from here he will say password, and from these two if they matches, then only he will say password. Now he will send us the password, and we will send these two things in our register API. Okay, so these are the front end parts. We are only concerned about back end things. All right, so this is whole the process of making APIs work. Now let's get back, and here we have only validate phone, and in this validate phone we are having validate phones and OTP. Now it's time to create the validate OTP. Okay, so in validate OTP, let's create the more view. Okay, one more thing, I have in the model, I have edited new field, validated field, which is boolean field, and it is by default false, and it's saying if it is true, that means the user have validated OTP correctly. Like I was saying here, that logged will only be true if the OTP matches, and then we will check this field in register whether the user have successfully matched this logged field. If this logged field is false, we will say first go to validate OTP. Okay, that's why we have created this field here. Okay, and this logged validated field or logged field, whatever. Okay, so let's jump to views.py now, and in the views.py I have this new function, validate OTP function, and if the user have already received the OTP, then post a request with phone number, okay, and OTP sent. By using these two things, phone number and OTP sent, if the phone both are there, then we will check for data by from this model, validate phone and validate OTP, and sorry, phone OTP model, and we will match if the in sent request. Let me tell you, in this validate OTP he will send us phone and OTP, and here we already have stored the, this is sent OTP that we have sent on his mobile. So we will match, if these two things matches with these two things, then only we will make this logged field true. Okay, so what we are doing here is we are checking whether this send OTP is matching with the phone. So first we have accessed the phone field, then if it is existing, then taking the first instance from the query set, we are taking the OTP as old OTP from this instance. Okay, if the OTP sent, that is by the user, sent by the user, and stored OTP, that is OTP from our model matching, that we will make this validated field. The validated field is here true. Okay, and then we are saving it. And if this is not matching, and yeah, in the response we are saying that OTP is matched, so I have to say here that OTP is matched true, and I will say OTP matched, and please proceed for registration now. Okay, now if the OTP is not matching, we are saying that OTP is incorrect, the sent OTP is incorrect. And if the old is not existing, like the model phone OTP model is not existing, then that means user have not passed this step, this creation step. So we will say that first proceed via sending OTP request, and in the case if the phone and OTP are not there in the post request, then we will say please provide both phone and OTP validation. So this is the process of validating the OTP. Okay, so let's jump to Postman and check it out. In Postman, first we have to send the validate phone. In you can see here validate phone, and the second one is validate OTP. So in validate phone we are only passing phone number, and I just send it. So it is saying that phone number already exists. All right, that's good. So let's change it, and for this phone number it is saying OTP sent successfully. Now this OTP will be sent on the mobile of user, and he will receive it. So for us, we can check in 3159 on command prompt this 3159. So in this next step we have to pass this 3159 as OTP, and this will be validate OTP, and now we will send it. So it is saying that the unsupported format for and str equals to str, and let's check it out. What the problem with it? Everything is fine, I think. Okay, I have to check this to end, and now so it is saying OTP matched because the OTP is correct. That's why it is saying OTP matched. Now if I say something wrong sent here, so it will say that OTP incorrect. Okay, so because OTP has been was correct here, so we can check in our phone OTP model for this number, this one. We can say that we can check that validated has become true for this part. Okay, now our next step will be, because user have already validated, now our next part will be to register this user. So let's do this last step of registration by using Django Rest Framework. So class register, and in this we are again having API view. All right, so we will start with post self request args and keyword args as the arguments. You don't need all these things, but and here we will take phone number. So phone number will be received from request.data dot get, and field is phone, and if the phone number is not received, I will say false. Okay, get second argument. So if the first phone number is not present in request.data, it will say false, otherwise error will come. So to pass that error, and not OTP but password here. Password equals to again request dot data dot get password and false. Alright, so if both are there, if phone and password are both only, then we will proceed. If this else, if we have not received any of these things, then I will say return response, and in the return response status will be false here, and detail will become like phone and password are not sent. So both phone and password are not sent. Alright, so this is the very first step. In the second thing, if the phone number and password are correct, then we have to check whether for this phone number, this field otp.validated is true or not. Okay, so for that we have to do exactly this thing. Okay, we have to check for this phone number if the model phone otp instance is existing or not, because if it's completely new and he's coming directly in this register API, then we can't make the account without validating his phone number. Okay, verifying his phone number. So we are checking if for this phone number, if phone OTP model is existing or not. If it exists, we will take the first instance, otherwise else. So I will return the response again, and in the response we will say status is false, and in the detail we will say that please verify phone first. Okay, then only you can register the account. And if it is existing, and we have to check there that validated field validated equals to, that will be old dot validated, and I will say if validated is true. Okay, if validated is true, then that's good. So I will say return response. Here we have to create the account successfully, so I will say status is true, and detail that is account created successfully. Account created. This we have to change this after some time, but just for now I'm doing it. So if validated is true, else. So else is more interesting, so I will return the response, and I will say the status is not true here, it is false, and detail will be OTP haven't verified yet, haven't verified, first do that step. Okay, so this is if the validated field is false, that means if we haven't cleared this step. Now if the validated is false, then we have to create the user. Then how we will create the user? We will create by using data. So we are having data in phone number and password here, so I will say temp data, or just if, because we can't use data as the field name. So here we have phone, and in the phone I will pass, we are creating a data JSON data. Okay, phone and password, so that we can pass this data in our serializer, and the password will be password. So this time data is having everything for us to pass in the serializer. So I will say serializer equals create, I think it is so let's go to serializer.py. So we haven't created yet any serializer, so first step will be to create the serializer. So make a new file, serializer, that's .py. I think you already know about little about serializers, because you intermediate knowledge of some simple serializer creating. So I'm making it from REST framework. Import serializers, and we will also need get user model. So let's say from Django contrib auth import get user model, and then user will equals to get user model, and that's it. Okay, now we are creating a new serializer which will be get class create. Okay, create user serializer. Okay, and here we will have serializers dot big. We are taking use of model serializer, serializer dot model serializer, and here by using, this is serializer is totally similar to, we make forms in Django. If you know form, then this is not a new thing for you. So models would be user model, that's why I imported this here. And the fields that we need here, the fields will be only two fields we need, that is phone number and password. And extra keyword args will be, we have to pass some extra thing, that is extra password. We are doing it for password. So password, we are saying that it should be write only. Okay, you can't read the password, so write only. Make this field true. That's it, that's simple. Just this thing, and make sure that you are placing comma. And now you have to create a new function here, that is def create, which will self and validate data. Data in the argument of this function, and user will be equal to user dot objects dot create, that we used to do very often. What is happening? Create, and we have to pass whole of this data here by using double star function, and then return user. That's it. So this will be our create user serializer, and then import this create user serializer in the views. So from dot serializer import create user serializer, and we will use this create user serializer in our where I have this part. Okay, so we have temporary data, I think, yeah. So create user serializer, and in the data for this we have to pass the temp data that we have created already, above here. Okay, and then we have to do if the serializer is valid. So serializer dot is valid, this defined function of serializer dot is valid, and raise exception. Yeah, we want to raise the exception if error is there, like if he don't have the password or phone, etc. So raise exception equals to true, it will not create the account. Then we will say user equals to serializer dot save. What it will do, it will create the account, serializer dot save. And then if the account has been saved, then we have to delete this old thing, that is phone OTP model. So old dot delete, we don't need now. And in the response we will say that it is true and the account has been created for you. And in the else, return the response. All right, sometimes you also need to send the Nox token. Okay, but we're not sending it here. You can send the Nox token by just serializer.data. Okay, so let's do it now. Go to the post, we have this thing. So we have already done two steps, like OTP matching and OTP sending. As you can see here in the part, the OTP received by last time was, I think, wait, where it is? This 3159. So if I say 3159, it will make our validated field true in phone OTP model. As you can see here, OTP matched, proceed for the registration. So we have to also map the URL. So class register, for this go to urls.py, register.hvu, yeah, and in just don't make, we don't need auth. That's it. So we have to go to register. Okay, so API/register. So in the register we have to pass phone and OTP, phone and password. So if I'm not passing password here, so it is saying both phone and password are not sent. Okay, so let's pass password, and let's say if I'm not passing this number, I'm passing some random number. Okay, so in this case it is saying please verify phone first, because this phone number is completely new, phone number is not recognized by it. So if I'm saying this and password is let's say 1234, okay, and send please verify phone first. I think this is not the phone number, so let's say this. Let's check what was the phone number, or repeat the process totally from beginning. So let's say validate. So first will be validate phone. These are all the three requests that we have created. So in the validate phone we just have to pass the phone number. Okay, so if I send, so it is saying phone number already exists, so I will say let's say 6 here. So for this phone number OTP sent, in the command prompt check the OTP, and the OTP is 5579. So change the field to 5579, and this will be validate OTP, and send. OTP matched, fine. Now the last step will be, it is saying please proceed for registration, and that will be registration, the register, and here we have to pass phone number and password, both things. So instead of OTP I have to pass password. Make a new key password, and password let's say 1234. Okay, so if I do it, that's it, account has been created. Congrats. So this is the whole registration API, and now if you go to admin panel you can check that the account for this number 1234 should be created in users. Yeah, here it is 1234 okay. So this is the thing, and it is saying invalid password format or unknown hashing algorithm. Why it is saying? Because we have only used 4 digits for creating this account, that's why this is giving the problem. Okay, so you can skip out this part by giving more than 4 digits, at least 6 to 8 digits. Okay, so here you go. Till here we have completed this whole step: validate phone, validate OTP, and register. And in next part of the video we will cover forget password. Okay, the thing will be very same. Validate phone will become validate forget phone, and then we will match the OTP, then we will change the password if the user forgets it. So take care till then.